Hello and welcome to the season 9 finale of Why Wasn't It Better? I'm your host, Patrick Darms.
And I'm your co-host, Anton Paras.
Almost 10 seasons in, Anton.
Ooh, goodness gracious. And we got to have a big one to end this season, don't we?
We do. On this episode of Why Wasn't It Better, we're going to dive into the most quietly devastating entry in the Harry Potter saga. The one where the magical world becomes political, paranoid, and suffocating. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix isn't just a story about a boy wizard facing a dark lord. It's about institutional failure, isolation, and a teenager crushed under the weight of a world that refuses to believe him. This is the film where Hogwarts stops feeling like home, where the Ministry of Magic becomes the villain, where grief makes Harry reckless, angry, and more human than ever before. And at the center of it all stands Dolores Umbridge, a pastel pink nightmare whose smile is sharper than any Death Eater's wand. By the way, to the listeners, I apologize for my voice. I'm recovering from an illness. It's not up to my usual standards.
You know, Pat, all of the listeners and myself just wish you well. Get well soon, man.
Thank you.
Released on July 11, 2007 by Warner Brothers Pictures and Heyday Films. Directed by David Yates. Screenplay by Michael Goldenberg. Based on the novel by J.K. Rowling. Starring Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, Emma Watson, Robbie Coltrane, Alan Rickman, Gary Oldman, Michael Gambon, Imelda Staunton, Maggie Smith, Ray Fiennes, and Helena Bonham Carter. With a budget of $150 million, $227 million adjusted for inflation, with a box office of $942 million, so $1.43 billion adjusted for inflation, with a 78% Rotten Tomato score. Now in his 5th year at Hogwarts, Harry learns that many in the wizarding community do not know the truth of his encounter with Lord Voldemort. Cornelius Fudge, the Minister of Magic, appoints his toady Dolores Umbridge as defense against a dark arts teacher, for he fears that Professor Dumbledore will take his job. But her teaching is deficient and her methods cruel, so Harry prepares a group of students to defend the school against a rising tide of evil. Well, Pat, we're closing out the season. It's a big movie. It's the O of the P. I think it's pretty obvious, but why are we talking about this movie today?
Well, this has become a habit for us of ending our seasons with a Harry Potter film. O of the P is my favorite book in the series. It's not a lot of people's first choice. It is mine. I love the espionage feel to it, the secret order feel to it, the secret war vibe that it has going on.
The Secret Wars, yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of emotional maturity from the characters that is really in the book that's not necessarily in this film that we're going to talk about. But most of all, I think it upped the stakes in a very different, unexpected direction. When I first read this, when it came out, I was not expecting the series to go in this direction. Now, the whole concept of the Ministry of Magic not believing Harry and trying to sabotage him kind of got started at the end of Goblet of Fire, but it really continued here in a big way that I wasn't expecting, and I really enjoyed it, where Harry not only has to worry about, the return of Voldemort, but he has to worry about something that's arguably more dangerous, which is the authorities and the magic world overall not believing him and not supporting him, even though up until this point in the series, we've been led to believe that unless you were a supporter of Voldemort, like a Malfoy or something like that, everyone was pretty much united around their love, their fandom of Harry Potter. But that changed here. So I really thought that was a great book. And we were talking about it on the last time we covered a Harry Potter film. It's my favorite book in the series, but really, Order of the Phoenix into Half-Blood Prince into Deathly Hallows is like my favorite stretch of books, maybe ever. So by the time this film came out in 2007, the film series was like a well-oiled machine. I mean, every film was pumping out $800-900 million. They all did well critically. And I would say for the most part, would you agree, Harry Potter fans were satisfied with the films. They had their complaints, they had their flaws that we all kind of were aware of, but for the most part, we were satisfied.
Yeah, and we've gone over all of the reasons why, the amount of care, finally seeing things on screen that we've always wanted to, but we know that there's always mixed results depending on the film.
Did you like this one when you first saw it?
Yeah, when I first saw it. Listeners may know that if they've listened to our episode Prisoner of Azkaban, that is my favorite book in the series. And all I can say is, knowing that is my favorite book, where do people think that I stand with this film?
Well, I don't know. How do you answer that? Because this is my favorite book. This is not my favorite film.
Well, I'll tell you this. This is where I get very emotionally wrecked, but with, again, mixed results.
My opinion of this has changed in the subsequent years.
Mm-hmm.
I won't disguise that. I liked this a lot less on the last rewatch than when I did when I first saw it in theaters.
In terms of famous book cover to film poster, I think if they would have taken more from the book cover, it would have been an effective movie poster.
I assume that you're referring to the original hardcover?
Of course.
All right. Have you noticed something? So we're covering these Harry Potter films. We don't talk about the posters often, but the first film in particular has an iconic film poster.
Yep. The three faces and
who painted it? That famous artist, right?
That artist that passed away in 2025.
Yes, his name is Drew Kaizen.
Drew.
I should have probably written this down, but I didn't. It's okay. We can look it up. But you probably know where I'm going with this. How lazy did the posters get in this series?
You could tell that a lot of it was getting photoshopped because that first one,
it's fantastic.
Right? Yeah.
And then slowly but surely, by the time you get to this one, it's just the three main characters photoshopped staring into the camera. It's completely boring, completely uninteresting. And you're right, compared to the books, which have these amazing artwork covers. Well, they didn't put that $150 million budget into the poster. We've talked about 2007 before, Anton. Incredible film year. I just want to reiterate, here's just some of the stuff that graced our presence on the silver screen. There Will Be Blood, No Country for Old Men, Michael Clayton, Ratatouille, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, obviously, 300, Eastern Promises, Atonement, Charlie Wilson's War, 3:10 to Yuma, The Kite Runner, The First Transformers, The Bourne Ultimatum, Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. And those are the good ones. There was also Spider-Man 3.
Well, we've covered a few of those films.
We have. Yeah. We're going to be covering a couple more. Next season, I decided we're going to do No Country for Old Men.
Yeah. And that's a solid choice.
Yeah, it's a pretty good movie, right? It was all right.
2007 was also very peak video gaming. We had the Xbox, the Wii, the PS2. We still have the tail end of the GameCube.
Is that when PS3 came out?
PS3, I want to say, came out in 2008.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. No, yeah, you're right. Because Halo 3 was the Xbox 360? Halo 3 came out in 2007, right?
Okay, so Halo 3... Halo 3 came out in 2007, and I was off. The PS3 came out in 2006, but you can really assume that it was fully like in its, it was hitting its stride by 2007, by late 2007, by 2008, because that's when most games have published.
I think I had a PS3 by that point.
So did I. Played a lot of Uncharted.
I played a lot of Halo 3, obviously not on the PlayStation, but Halo 3, big part of my life in 2007.
Yeah, Xbox 360, the only console that was shipped out knowing that there would be like a 98% failure on the system.
Yep, yeah. People still bought it. So yeah, this was just one of many very good one of many films to come out that year that I saw in the theater. Harry Potter thoughts in general for you. I don't know if we talked about this on the Goblet of Fire episode. Animagus sounds like a racial slur, right?
It sounds like a slur.
Because there's a line in the book late in the story when Bellatrix says to Voldemort, because he's like, "Oh, you smashed my prophecy," and she's like, "I'm sorry, Master. I was fighting the Animagus Black," which makes it sound like a slur.
I could see it. I think I definitely would probably avoid. I would be a bit more careful with any term if I was in the wizarding world.
But if you're Bellatrix Lestrange, everybody's a racial slur.
I was going to say everything's kind of getting thrown out there if you're Bellatrix Lestrange.
Mudblood, half-blood.
It's so bad. I don't know if there's ever been a post of equivalent, actual slur of where does Mudblood lie?
I think it's the worst.
It must be really bad.
Yeah, everyone reacts to it with, passion.
You shouldn't say that on a public train kind of thing.
Right. Animagus, it makes me laugh, though, just the way she referred to him as that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, before we get to the production history, we can't skip the 6 Degrees of Warren Beatty's sex life. This one's a little bit of a stretch, but we can still get there. So Gary Oldman starred in Leon the Professional with Natalie Portman, who was in Heat with Al Pacino. And of course, Pacino dated Diane Keaton, who also dated Warren Beatty at one point. Not at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So there's our 6 degrees of Warren Beatty's sex life.
Very nice.
Most people forget Natalie Portman is in Heat, one of the all-time great casts.
I would say young Natalie Portman.
Yeah. That would have been like a year after Leon, right? A year or two?
Yeah. So she's like preteen, probably.
Yeah. Just a few years before her star-breaking role in Phantom Menace.
Wasn't her star-breaking role Leon?
I don't know, man. But it's not every day someone gets to play the elected queen of Naboo.
That's true. Good for her.
I mean, at this point, Phantom Menace is way more famous than Leon.
Yeah, it's true. And, well, Natalie Portman, I haven't seen any recent interviews on her thoughts of like her time with Star Wars, but I don't think she's commenting much about it anymore.
She doesn't have a lot to say about it.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Look, we all know she showed up for a paycheck, and that's okay. Who could she have played in this film? No one, right? There's no Americans in this film.
Creature.
How dare you? Correct me if I'm wrong, right? They kept the all British thing going, right?
I couldn't really think of anyone that was American in the cast.
Yeah, I don't think there is. I'm going to let you read the production history as I take a call from my wife.
All right. Mike Newell, who directed the 4th film, declined to return for this one after Jean-Pierre Jeunet, Guillermo del Toro, Matthew Vaughn, and Mira Nair turned down offers. David Yates was hired. He would end up directing the rest of the series. So think about this. They would rely on a 6th choice to direct half the series. Let's ponder on that. Now, Yates believed he was approached because the studio saw him fit to handle a, quote, edgy and emotional film with a, quote, political backstory, which some of his previous television projects included State of Play, Sex Traffic, and The Girl in the Cafe demonstrated. This was the only film in the series not written by Steve Kloves. He was busy working on another commitment, so Michael Goldenberg filled in. Ivana Lynch won the role of Luna Lovegood over 15,000 other girls who attended the open casting call.
What was that? Sorry.
Saoirse Ronan.
Saoirse,
is that it?
Are you joking or you don't know how to pronounce her name?
Saoirse.
It's Saoirse.
Saoirse Ronan. Saoirse Ronan auditioned for the role but was considered too young. The tabloids kept linking Elizabeth Hurley to the role of Bellatrix Lestrange, although Warner Brothers asserted there was, quote, no truth whatsoever to these reports.
That would not have worked at all. Way too hot.
Way too hot. Helen McRory was originally cast as Bellatrix, but after she revealed she was 3 months pregnant and would be unable to film many of the action sequences, she was replaced by Helena Bonham Carter. McRory was subsequently cast as Narcissa Malfoy from Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince onwards. Representatives of Jim McManus said he would be playing Aberforth Dumbledore in what would be a very minor role, but this never happened. The family of footballer Theo Walcott made a cameo appearance in the film. Yates is Walcott's uncle. Walcott himself was going to appear, but couldn't due to his commitment to Arsenal. Creature, the Black family's house elf, was going to be cut from the film in one draft of the script. Rowling cautioned the filmmaker, saying, you know, I wouldn't cut him if I were you, or you can, but if you get to make a 7th film, you'll be tied in knots. He was then added back into the script. The Ministry of Magic Atrium set was over 200 feet in length, making it the largest and most expensive set built for the series. Production designer Stuart Craig's design was inspired by early London Underground stations, where he said architects, quote, tried to imitate classical architecture, but they used ceramic tile, end quote, as well as Burger King on Tottenham Court Road in London. The Hall of Prophecies set was entirely digital. During a fight scene which occurs there, prophecies crash to the ground and break. Had it been an actual physical set, the reset time would have been weeks. Principal photography lasted from February to November 2006, primarily at Leavesden Studios. Filming was delayed while several cast members took their school exams. Nerds. Director David Yates stated in an interview that he had originally shot a 3-hour cut of Order of the Phoenix. However, some material had to be cut out in the final edit as the film was 45 minutes too long. The film required over 1,400 visual effects shots. London-based company Double Negative produced 950 of them. A new composer, Cliff Hooper, was hired to score the film. In a hilarious bit of Hollywood accounting, Warner Brothers claimed it lost $167 million despite the total gross of $942 million. Now, isn't that interesting?
That's insane.
That doesn't shock me, accounting. And before we begin our main segment of the show, we're going to have a little bit of a promo break. As always, we thank you for listening. If you're liking the podcast and haven't already done so, please hit that follow or subscribe button. We encourage you to leave comments wherever you're listening or watching. You can follow us on the major social media platforms, Instagram, X, and best of all, Letterboxd, where you can see our full list of films that we intend to cover. And if you really like what we're doing and want to throw a few dollars our way, we do have a Patreon. There you can support the show, get access to episodes a full week early and ad-free, plus access to bonus content. Links to the aforementioned are in the description. And now that we're done plugging it, we are ready to get into the main segment of the show in a moment.
All right.
Yep.
You want to talk why I wasn't better?
Let's do it.
Storytelling has to be our number one reason.
All right.
We don't want to sound like broken records. And I don't want this to turn into two Harry Potter fans complaining about stuff that's just cut out of the book that we liked. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But it has to be said, there was a decent chunk cut out.
Stuff that they shouldn't have left out. You know, just like with the previous film, especially Goblet of Fire, and really this one, I found the first hour of this to be a pretty rushed, jumbled mess.
Mm-hmm.
And they were basically taking 100 pages of the book and squashing it into 15 minutes.
And
barely successful, in my opinion. They're skating by here.
I think that especially when we consider the length of this book compared to previous installments. Now, it's not always about, I guess, leaving out everything. We've already talked about, artistic interpretation or creative freedoms are always going to be taken. But when it comes to storytelling, there are going to be crucial moments in a film that need to kind of connect parts, right? And
yes, I wouldn't say there's anything outright bad, but I was trying to put myself, I was doing this mental exercise. I was trying to put myself in the shoes of someone who had never read the book, who had never seen this movie, and who had no context whatsoever. If you do that, which is what any filmmaker should do when they're approaching any type of source material, right? You can't just rely on the audience having read the book to fill in gaps.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff in here that doesn't make sense. Now the Dementor attack is what opens the film, right? And then Harry defends himself, and Dudley, Big D, the pot dealing bully. I assume he's selling pot, right?
I like to call him Duds.
What do his parents call him? Diddykins?
Diddykins.
I love how he's dressed, too. Like he's in a 2005 hip-hop video.
Yeah, which was all the style back then.
It was all the style, all the rage. So Harry defends himself and his pot-dealing bully of a cousin. He gets this letter from... Did you notice the woman who sends the letter will appear in Deathly Hallows? Mathilda Hopkirk. So he gets expelled pending this hearing at the ministry, right? And then the members of the Order of the Phoenix, they show up to collect him in the middle of the night, right? To rescue him, basically, quote unquote.
Right.
Couple things right off the top. There's no mention of Moody being the real Moody this time.
Yeah, just as crazy as that ending was in the last film, it's like, oh no, it's chill now.
You'd think it would have been mentioned here, right? Like, oh, by the way, I'm the real Moody, just in case you were wondering.
He probably had to go to therapy after that, right?
Being locked in that crate for a whole year, yeah.
And just spitting out whatever questions were asked of him.
Yeah, you'd think. Played by the wonderful Brendan Gleeson. And then but the other characters, we get Tonks and Kingsley Shacklebolt. They're not really introduced. We have no idea who they are.
But a lot of assumptions, though.
Did you notice there's two other wizards with them?
Those are Order of the Phoenix interns.
Who are they, though? We never see them again. They're not at the Order meeting later on at the Grimmauld place, Sirius's house. Look, and I get it, right? The book is almost 900 pages, and it's very hard to turn that into a 2-hour movie and cover everything. But I was trying to do the math on this. Would you say this film covers maybe 40% of the book?
I think, like, if you told me they included half of it.
I don't even think it's that much.
I would say, like, well, did you forget this part? Because, again, it's very lengthy. You can say maybe they for sure got the skeleton of everything. But
they did, yeah.
But
perfunctory.
Yeah, it's a really good way to put it. I think as as a fan of the books, I think it's where maybe one could argue, well, if you go to the deleted scenes, you get to see a bit more of the meat that maybe you're missing. But that doesn't give us a complete film then.
No, you're right. It doesn't give us a complete film. And this film, I think, is probably, along with Half-Blood Prince, the best case of why you'd want to see the upcoming series, right?
Because you get a bit of an extension. You get the little things that maybe you've always wanted to see on screen. Whether
But
it's
not even just the little things. Like, there's some major things in here.
major things too.
Like, in Half-Blood Prince, which we'll get to that film next season, the film only shows 2 of the memories in the pensive. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When I think there's like 5 or 6 in the book, and you could,
Right.
none of them aren't important in the overall story of it. No, but you're right. Like, did this film hit on, like, did they get the skeleton of the book right? I think sure. But it's not that they cut all the stuff out that we like. That's not the problem. It's the stuff that was sacrificed. They got away with it. I think they managed to keep the plane in the air, but they didn't cover some really important stuff. Let's go through them. There's some minor stuff that I think we can be more forgiving of, and there's some really, frankly, unforgivable stuff. And I want to start with one of the most important things about this story is Umbridge is the one who sends the Dementors after Harry in the beginning of the film. There's no mention of it in this film.
Because she's incredibly evil.
She is incredibly evil. Now, the film hints, based on what Dumbledore says at the trial, right? Or the hearing. It's not really a trial. The film would have us believe that Voldemort sent the Dementors after Harry, but that's not what happens. Do you feel that they do a good job of explaining what the Order of the Phoenix is?
Really? Not really.
Because it's never really mentioned again in the next film.
But it's just a ragtag bunch.
But what do? What's the point of it?
They make bets on footy.
Here's an unforgivable one for you. The film does not explain why the prophecy is so important to Voldemort.
It is pretty sketch.
The entire plot is built around Voldemort is trying to get his hands on something that he didn't have before, right? They say that repeatedly. Oh, something he didn't have before. But we don't get any elaboration on how did he become aware of the prophecy? Why does he spend an entire calendar year trying to get his hands on it? How does he react to it getting smashed? Does he care? It gets smashed in the Battle of the Ministry. And does Voldemort care? It's never mentioned again. Even Dumbledore, that scene with Dumbledore, you know, at the end, which lasts all of 90 seconds, doesn't really go into detail about it.
Could have been cooler.
Well, keep me honest here, Anton. Does the film need it?
The ending battle?
No. The explanation of the prophecy.
I'd argue, yeah. The film needs to set up more of the future films, or the future books.
Because the fundamental question, which even Lucius Malfoy asks Harry, remember, he asks him, haven't you wondered why Voldemort tried to kill you when you were a baby? And if you haven't read the books and you're just seeing this for the first time, you're like, yeah, I would like to know that. These films never answer that question.
But we just assume we know because all of us are typically book readers.
It's pretty lazy screenwriting. The big one here for me on the last rewatch, the film really doesn't do a good job of showing how traumatized Harry is by losing Sirius.
I mean, it emotionally wrecked me in the books, the way it's described. Knowing that this was basically Harry losing his parents all over again.
Yes.
But then how is it presented in the end? It's like, on to the next adventure.
I mean, he's initially shocked and angered by it, especially when he chases down Bellatrix. But then after that, you know, if you remember in the book, Harry is furious at Dumbledore for avoiding him all year and keeping him in the dark about everything. He blames him for Sirius's death. And they have this really lengthy, exposition-heavy, post-Sirius conversation. It's very raw. It shows Harry's grief and his rage in greater detail. And in the movie, it's 90 seconds. It's just compressed into 90 seconds.
It does not do the book justice. Does not.
And then, you know, Luna Lovegood says to him, like, oh, sorry about your godfather. But Harry doesn't really react to it. He doesn't really have a conversation with Ron or Hermione about it.
It feels
so lazy.
It feels very glossed over.
And at the end of the film, you know, when they're all walking out to the train, he doesn't appear sad at all. You would hardly know Sirius was dead.
But I think, like, I'm trying to think, like, looking from the studio perspective, it's just, again, fill in the blank of emotional state. just so we can get through this last portion of the movie. But if I've ever wondered, like, if anything's ever made me jaded of studio decisions when it comes to like screenplays and how adaptations can feel a bit more hollow than their source material, it's moments like this.
It's probably the strongest part of the book for me, and I think this film out and out ruins it. Do you blame David Yates for this or the studio? Like, I wonder who had final. He probably didn't have final cut.
There's no way, like, there's no way he had final say.
You can't say it's a lack of understanding of the source material, but it is a lack of respect for the source material, for sure.
Yeah. It feels, it just feels like very important things get glossed over. And now that is to say there's a lot of really great things that I love, but we'll get to that. Especially how much I loved Prisoner of Azkaban and Sirius finally coming into Harry's life and giving him hope. You think something with a bit more of an emotional punch would really carry through for what is one of the most iconic moments in the series, let alone the book.
And they didn't have to gloss over it, too. There was this strange decision to make this movie just about 2 hours. You know, when the film, when the battle in the Ministry ends, it's right around the 2-hour mark. I'm not really sure why, unless they had this self-imposed runtime that they wanted to stick to. Moving through the rest of the plot, the storytelling stuff, this is more minor stuff, but still, I think, puzzling stuff to leave out. Another missed opportunity to feature Dobby. No Dobby.
But did you notice, like, they use the same character as, like, a fill-in?
Neville?
Yeah.
Because in the book, Dobby is the one who suggests they use the Room of Requirement.
And in the books, it was Dobby who gave the gillyweed to Harry.
Yes.
So probably, is this like a conspiracy of studio executives just really being big on Neville, really being big on our boy Neville?
I don't know, but it's considering where the series was going to shortchange Dobby like that again. Dobby ends up being monstrously important to this story. Also, did you notice when they get to the Room of Requirement in this film, they all react to it like they've never seen it before, but Harry's definitely been there in book 1.
Yeah. A little silly.
Creature. He's given lip service here per J.K. Rowling's instructions. Now, he has a much more expanded role in the book. I understand why they shortchanged him a little bit here to do his duplicity that takes place in the book. That would have been, I think, a little bit complicated to include on screen here. I at least understand that part of it. Here's the part I don't get. No mention of the two-way mirror that Sirius gifts to Harry. This is unforgivable, in my opinion, because instead we get this scene of Sirius giving him the photograph of the Order of the Phoenix, but it has no bearing on the plot whatsoever.
Which, you know, they only did that because the title of the film is Order of the Phoenix.
Right. Maybe, like, did they just not know about what would happen with the two-way mirror yet?
Maybe.
Like, you'd think Rowling would have given them notes on that. Like, actually, this is going to come up again. Because when it pops up in Deathly Hallows, you're just like, what? What's this mirror doing in Harry's sock? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't. It baffles me. But what were your thoughts on actual on-screen creature?
Not great CGI?
Yeah. I mean,
they at least set him up. I mean,
not great, but like, look, in the book, I always read him as like a curmudgeon asshole. And he's a curmudgeon.
He is. But I think it's really interesting in Deathly Hallows what happens when Harry treats him well. He becomes this huge asset. And that's ultimately one of the reasons that leads to Sirius's downfall, right? How poorly he decided to treat Creature.
Mm-hmm.
But that would have taken up. I wrote down, it does a decent job of summarizing the book rather than adapting it, which is kind of like what you were saying earlier. It gets the spine of it right. It's like Cliff's Notes.
Yeah, and I don't think that that's a great way to describe a film off of like a best-selling novel.
No, but the worst part for me is all the stuff we just went through, right? Not explaining the prophecy, not explaining that Umbridge is the one that sent the Dementors after Harry, not explaining how devastated Harry is by Sirius's death. All of these things could have been explained with minimal dialogue. It wouldn't have required a lot more screen time. That's the part I can't forgive.
Yeah, it's very simply, as you said, poor storytelling.
I mean, I said earlier I didn't think anything in this movie is bad, but would you call the screenwriting bad here?
Yeah, I think like it's lacking. For sure, right?
But never forget that Hagrid's dad banged a giant.
Can't forget that. Can't forget that, can we?
No. This started with Prisoner of Azkaban, these screenwriting decisions. You know, although we both of us loved that film, the whole not explaining how Sirius got out of Azkaban, not really explaining the Marauders, that all started in that film. All those bad habits started in that film, and they would continue on in the series.
Do you think that part of it is with the need to get these movies out as fast as the studio had to, with the cast aging up so quickly, that the decision is let's just get the films out, get these moments in, and like checkbox it, but we can gloss over the fine details?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, they were just like, get it out. I highly doubt anyone gave the script really a moment's second look.
Like, as long as it hits these check marks of like, okay, as long as we have them in, we're good.
They're like, yeah, let's show the battle at the Ministry. We have the Hall of Prophecies thing. Oh, are we going to explain what the prophecy is for? Nah, don't need to.
Did Ron make a joke? Okay, we're good.
Oh, Ron. Yeah, moving into the next reason why this wasn't better. I would say this film is saved by the second half. I found the second half much stronger than the first.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, because we get some pretty iconic moments. The whole battle in the Ministry is, I think, pretty well done. We finally get to see Dumbledore battling Voldemort. It's pretty cool.
It's, up to this point, the best wand duel we've ever seen, right?
It's kind of the only wand duel we've ever seen, minus the graveyard thing in
I was going to say, like,
Fire.
There's a lot of, we've seen magic used to like fight or combat, but like this is the first time we're really seeing it used as like, this could be like Soul Calibur or Tekken, but
yeah, I mean, they had been teasing this concept of Dumbledore being, quote, the only one that Voldemort ever feared, right?
Right.
It was better teased in the books, I think, but they had been building this up for a while. And we always knew Dumbledore was an exceptionally powerful wizard, but this is seeing it on full display was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely, if there was a Street Fighter video game a la Harry Potter, I would definitely be using I'd be a Dumbledore main.
This is like Rocky versus like Clubber Lang.
If I'm definitely like wondering about the Voldemort Clubber Lang comparison.
Well, he's the bad guy.
I pity the fool that supports muggles.
Hey, woman, why don't you come over to my place?
Get yourself a real man.
Yeah, get yourself a real man. Hey, you got a big mouth. Who's Paulie?
Ron.
Yeah, I was gonna say Ron too.
Yeah.
Hey, Paulie, did you gamble? Did you lose all my money? It's all right, Rocky. I bought a robot.
You know how it is, Rock.
It's the worst part about those films.
The robot was the worst part of those films. And why did that scene have to be 5 minutes?
I don't know. We're trying to heap some praise on this film. I really do like the second half of this.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I mentioned this earlier. This film's even shorter than you think. So I did mention the Ministry battle ends around the 2-hour mark. So they took an 800-page book and they've tried to fit it into 2 hours. That's kind of all you need to know.
Yeah, good luck with that.
For some perspective for you, Anton, Chamber of Secrets is 251 pages, and that film is almost 40 minutes longer than this.
Goodness gracious.
But that's the point. I was wondering about the runtime. Was there some kind of studio mandate that says this has to be 2 hours? Because the original cut was obviously 3 hours, and they made him cut over 45 minutes out of it. But the previous films were longer. That's what I'm confused by. Like, this was going to make $900 million regardless. Why the decision to make this so short? It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
It doesn't make sense. And even when I try to think of like devil's advocate of why it would be beneficial, it just still doesn't make sense.
We get some montages, which is always great for compressed storytelling. I kind of like the newspaper montages thing that they're doing, though. I thought that was kind of effective.
And that's one of the things that you don't get when you move, or that's something that you get when you move into the film medium, is like how does storytelling adapt to the world? And I think like you said, the newspaper is already seen as like basic. How would you describe newspapers and like what you can see through the images? They're like iPads, basically. Kind of,
yeah. They're interactive.
Yeah, they're interactive. So then, kind of that same aspect is a really fun storytelling tool,
like Smart Ink, whatever.
Yeah,
whatever that technology is called. Yeah, but I would say for all the crap that we're giving this film, the final 40, like 30 to 40 minutes, like when they take Umbridge into the forest to get rid of her, and then they sneak into the Ministry, and then we get the battle, and then we get Sirius's death, the duel between Dumbledore and Voldemort. It's going at breakneck speed, and I have to say it's pretty well done.
Yeah. Did you like the scene where Umbridge gets taken into the Forbidden Forest and the centaurs like waterboard her, then stomp her to death?
Well, they don't kill her.
No, they don't.
I don't remember. The book doesn't really explain how she survives, right?
No, but I mean, I'm sure she's a very capable witch that was able to get herself out of it.
I think it's funny how in Deathly Hallows she's so evil that the Horcrux basically has no effect on her.
Oh, that's love it. We'll get to it, but like I think it's one of those things where when you finally get the moment due and like she gets taken out, you're very happy.
Oh yeah. So there was stuff missing from this, right? The brain room. There's like a love chamber, a space chamber. There's a time room in the book.
Mm-hmm.
They were all omitted from the film version. According to Matthew Lewis, the blogger, they filmed some of this stuff, but it was edited out. And I couldn't find all the deleted scenes. Some of it's just not available.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I think they really messed up, though, is they don't explain the death veil at all. Sirius just falls backward through the curtain and it ripples and then he's gone. But this is the thing. So if you remember in the book, he doesn't get hit with a killing curse. He just gets hit by, I think it's stupefy, and it knocks him through the veil, and that's what kills him. But in the movie, Bellatrix hits him with the killing curse. So he was going to die anyway, regardless of whether or not he fell through the veil. So if you think about it, the film version is dumber.
Much weaker.
Without any explanation. They just see the curtain, and then remember Harry's like, can you hear the voices? And only him and Luna can hear it. They don't explain it.
Thestrals.
Same thing. I mean, that made more sense. They explained that. I'm being really hard on this film.
You know, this is just a really, like, speaking of Thestrals, it's just a really, I know you're never probably going to play the video game.
I'm not.
But when it opens, there's like an animation where you're getting picked up by like your mentor and then a representative of Hogwarts or like one of his friends. And you're getting taken in a carriage. It's in flight. You don't really see the animals or you don't really see the beasts that are driving the carriage. Then a creature comes and kills your mentor's friend, and then suddenly you can see the Thestrals.
Oh.
And like it's a really cool detail because you're like, oh, they can see it and I can see it because I just saw someone die.
Okay, yeah, that would do it.
I thought it was a really cool thing that they added to the story. But they don't explain it like that. You just kind of have to know. That's why you see them now.
Right.
Oh, Luna.
How did you like the Cruciatus curse when Harry uses it? Better in the book?
Better in the book.
How Bellatrix is the one who explains it to him, right? How you've got to mean it. Because if you remember, there's this wonderful payoff in Deathly Hallows when he uses it on one of the Caro brothers, and he's just like, oh yeah, I see what Bellatrix meant. You do have to mean it. We don't get that payoff in the films, I don't think.
Bellatrix is very hateable, though.
She is. She's unhinged. When you talk about the cast,
let's do it.
That's the next reason. I mean, the core cast here, they continue to do great work. Ratcliffe, Grint, Watson, plenty of chemistry. They're great here.
Cho was a hater, though.
Yeah, this is a very different performance for Ratcliffe, too. He had to go a lot darker, much more internalized. He's really cynical in this film, even before losing Sirius, which, again, lessens the, I think, impact of Sirius's death. Now, that's not Radcliffe's fault.
I think, like, in the natural progression of the books, this is the most anti-authoritarian one, right?
Yeah.
And I think, like, you have to capture the angst because in the same way that each book kind of captures the emotions and the maturity that develops as you go across, as you grow up, this one is the most, like, if Harry used to listen to more like Red Hot Chili Peppers, this is him getting into like the Sex Pistols, right?
Sure.
To say like this is the punk era,
I suppose.
Yeah,
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
Is this like his grunge era?
Yeah, like it's a bit more angsty.
Smashing Pumpkins, if you will.
Yeah.
I do like his performance in here a lot, especially the other side to it too. I like how good he is in the scenes where he's teaching Dumbledore's army. Really good stuff.
It's it's great because
He has to be a leader.
yeah, and he's very believable as a leader.
He is. You mentioned Cho Chang. We do finally get to see Harry Mackett with Cho. It's very satisfying for him. She's not given a lot of screen time, but
no, it's not given a ton of screen time, and like I don't know if I forgive her still from the last film, but it's okay.
For what?
Yeah, not choosing our boy Harry.
Well, look, Cedric's
hot.
Yeah, look, Robert Pattinson. He's hot. He was hot on the streets. He is the chosen one, though, Harry. I mean, you'd think. I wish the films had done a little bit more of that, like him using that to his advantage.
I think like if there's anything that's been established in this film series or even in the book is that Harry has zero game.
He has zero game, and look, the books were ultimately kind of young adult stuff. They just weren't going to go there. There was so much. Do you know the nuclear arsenal of material of jokes that we could be making right now that we're not going to?
But like Harry and Ron just like hanging out at the Yule Ball, like unimpressing their dates, speaks to the amount of game that Harry has.
Harry had twins interested in him and fumbled that bag.
Harry's got zero game.
But he makes up for it later by settling for Ron's sister.
I was gonna say, but also like not only is he the chosen one, he's shown to be like a very proven leader. He's also on like the local sports team or on the school sports team as like
he's a star player.
He's like the star player, but like that still doesn't really make him cool.
You know what? You're right. It doesn't add up.
Because you think like if he was like the high school quarterback. For Harry, no. He does not play his cards well.
Ron uses it a little bit more with Lavender in the next film.
Because Ron would.
Harry, I don't know.
You could totally see Ron being like, yeah, I know Harry Potter.
My wife and I had the same reaction to all this where we were just like, Luna Lovegood is practically presenting herself to Harry, and he just doesn't pick up on it.
Can we talk about Luna now?
We sure can.
Yeah. Oh, I really loved Luna. Like the actress and just how she's portrayed.
Ivana Lynch.
Yeah.
Great performance.
Great character. Do you know the story of how like, just like her general background and like, I don't think it's why she was picked, but around her like eating disorder.
No.
Yeah. So she had connected with J.K. Rowling beforehand and just saying like, I would love to play Luna Lovegood, but like, because she identified with like being an outsider, just being a weirdo, and she was battling with an eating disorder. And then J.K. Rowling responded and said like, hey, like you take care of yourself. If you can, recover from your eating disorder and help take care of yourself better, like we'll take a look. And encouraged her to audition, and she did, and she got the role.
Well, we're grateful for. She's great here. She really is. They kind of turn her into a Gryffindor student in the next film, which I found kind of interesting, but that's beside the point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gary Oldman is great here again, kind of his final appearance. He makes the most of his scenes with Harry. The other big addition here, we've held off on this, but probably the best thing about the film, Imelda Staunton as Dolores Umbridge. My goodness.
Darth Vader, almost.
She's a great villain. She's far worse in the book.
It's so amazing. Like, we're not British, but I love reading how one of the things that really resonated amongst like British fans is just instructors like this, right? Teachers like this.
Sadistic.
Yeah. But I think everyone can identify with like that one teacher that's just like, do you enjoy the pain of your students?
Yeah, I think everyone's had it at least once in their life.
But like, I feel like this was a very specific. I think this probably is a bit more personal for the British folk.
Perhaps. I don't think the movie even paints her in a dark enough light. She is far more evil in the book. Like, if you remember in the book, she sends McGonagall to the hospital. Yeah. Stuns her.
Yeah, I think McGonagall was a bit more defiant in the book, I think.
Oh, yeah. She gets stunned a bunch of times, nearly dies.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Umbridge. I mean, this film goes, where she slaps Harry, I don't know if that was scripted. His reaction to it is like...
It's like, hey, like, they're going to write home about this.
Well, also, if you remember from the book, too, when they kind of compress it into just Cho Chang, but in the book, it's Cho Chang's friend that ends up betraying Dumbledore's army. Mm-hmm. And at one point, Umbridge is trying to get her to talk, and she starts shaking her.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, man.
It's crazy, man.
She gives them all truth, or she tries to give them all truth serum. But I really wish that this film had included the scene of where she admits to Harry that she's the one that sent the Dementors after him. It's such a missed opportunity.
I think, like, with how horrible she is, it also just makes other characters shine, whether it's the twins dropping out of school in such a way.
Yes.
Like, it just feels that much more satisfying. And, like, you know what? Mission accomplished film. If you're just introducing, like, if you, on keeping the characters consistent, but then also making them shine when juxtaposed to, like, this terrible, terrible, terrible character. And I mean it in the best way possible. She's terrible.
Yeah, she's one of the best characters in the entire series. And the fact that she comes back makes her even better.
She's such a great character that she's the focus of the ride at the new Universal ride, which I've heard is really, really cool.
It's called Battle at the Ministry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dumbledore, not the biggest fan of Michael Gambon's performance. I jokingly texted you the other day, is he on Xanax in this film?
Look, a lot of people aren't a fan of Michael Gambon.
Well, no surprise, he didn't read the books.
Never read the books, just doing his thing.
It's one of those things, like, obviously, an actor doesn't have to read the book, right? Their main job is to interpret the screenplay that they are given, right? But for heaven's sake, like, you have 7 books of material to pull from for your character, and it's one of the most important characters in the whole series. Like, it's just lazy.
It feels lazy, and I don't know. It's never going to be it's never going to be a part of the series that I enjoy is Michael Gambon's Dumbledore.
They never got it right. Let's hope that John Lithgow can do it. We get more Snape here. He's pretty entertaining.
Very. His
reactions to all of Umbridge's questions, which is just like, oh, so you weren't successful at the job? He's like, obviously.
I think it was... What were your thoughts of just, like, Harry discovering his dad was a bully?
I mean, it obviously meant a lot more in the book. It's never really brought up again in the films.
It should have, like, a deeper repercussion.
Yeah, it should. I mean, if you remember in the books, he thinks about it a lot more. He's like, what was my dad really like?
You're like, whoa, like, was my dad a jerk?
Yeah, but then, of course, you realize, like, a lot of people do a lot of jerky things when they're in their teens.
Right, and, like, it's one of those things where you learn, I think, like, the defining part, later in the book, the defining part for Snape is, like, he's also just really in love with Lily.
Yeah, and Snape is also, like, a complete loser. Like, does he end up doing a lot of brave stuff in the end? Yes, he does. But, like, he is a complete scumbag. The way he treats the students, the way he treats Harry, he's not a good guy.
We've talked about this before of just, like, he basically, like, went fascist, but then was, like, a double agent fascist.
For unrequited love reasons, not, like, moralistic reasons.
But it is kind of like if someone joined, like, a very
the Nazi party.
Yeah, it would be like if someone was, like, a very visible member of the Nazi party, but then now they're just also, like, teaching at your school.
Right.
I know nothing.
Yes. Did that happen to you?
No, but
you're like, I don't know.
No, but, like, isn't that what Magneto did?
Didn't that happen later, though? Magneto wasn't a Nazi.
No, I'm just making a very poor reference to apt pupil.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Snape. Yeah, so the other newcomer, Bellatrix Lestrange, played by Helena Bonham Carter.
Oh, yeah, she's
properly unhinged.
Do you think she's doing much acting?
Doesn't seem like it.
She's like, that's kind of like her thing, but...
It can be, yeah. She has a lot of range, though. She can do a lot of quieter stuff, too.
She can, and she has done quieter stuff. I just think that, like, and probably, you know, I do got to give the credit. Like, some of her biggest performances where her personality is very out of this world. She's memorable.
Yeah, like if you think about her in, like, the King's Speech, you know, she can do that kind of thing really well, too.
Yeah.
She's great here.
But then she's a freak at home.
Possibly. You could ask Tim Burton about that.
Yeah.
Did you notice her husband, not Helena Bonham Carter's, Bellatrix's husband, Rudolphus, is featured here He's named on the Black family tree, but as far as I can tell, he's not in the film, even though he should have been, because he's in the books.
Yeah, he was definitely not in the film.
No, he would have been in Azkaban with her.
Yeah, she was she's a great actress, great performance. Like, kind of a no-brainer to include in the series, right?
Yeah, she's definitely one of the most famous characters.
If we're talking about like also like iconic British actors, it's like, yeah, she's up there.
For sure. Final reason, the production. I keep saying how this film is perfunctory. You agreed with me. I think a lot of that can be down to the directing. I have to put it on David Yates. I have nothing against him, but think about it like this, Anton. Somehow, the sixth choice director who hadn't worked on a feature film in nearly a decade, he ended up helming the entire back half of the series. He did the final 4 films in the series. He's one of the biggest reasons why after Alfonso Cuarón, I just don't think the direction of these final 5 films is very inspired.
I hate to agree with you just because it almost feels shameful to admit, but
they should have been better.
They should have been better. And I think a lot of people felt it, that it just started to feel a bit more, not factory made, but just formulaic in the worst way possible. And you see it in the cheapness in the movie posters, laziness in the screenplay. I don't think that the effects got worse.
No, I think the visuals are great.
Yeah, the visuals are great. And
the production design is outstanding as usual.
But it's kind of the things that give it magic, you know? Like, those are the things that I feel like it felt like those little details were less important.
The stuff that they get right, they get really right. Like, the Ministry set looks amazing.
Yeah.
The green and the black tiles, it's stunning stuff. It was really cool to see the Hog's Head. I assume that is where Hogwarts students would go to buy drugs.
Yeah, if you want to go to the Hog's Head, we can go. If we play the Wizarding World.
Well, that's my question for you. Do you think Fred and George sold weed on the side?
I wouldn't be shocked if it wasn't just weed. Like, nothing like too heavy.
Right.
But like, hey, like we have E.
Like, Crabbe and Goyle did.
Right, for sure.
Because I thought about that. I'm like, why would you, if you're a Hogwarts student and you want to buy drugs, why go all the way to Hogsmeade? There's probably drugs in the castle.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could probably get it from Peeves, the poltergeist.
Oh, Peeves. I think, I don't know why, but like Crabbe and Goyle seem like the kind of like drug dealers that you're just like, yeah, like they're all business. They're not chill, you know?
I mean, no, they probably lace stuff with stuff. Yeah.
It's like they sell you, if they do sell like MDMA, it's like it's just bad stuff.
There's a whole nuclear arsenal of material we could go into on that we won't. All the love potion stuff. I found the cinematography to be an improvement over Goblet of Fire.
Yeah,
and
which
yet
is cool.
They were really starting to lean into the color correction that was very prevalent in the 2000s.
It's interesting because I think that there's such an interesting contrast around costuming. Still was very strong at this point.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, they built a lot of sets for sure.
Yeah, there was a lot of costume sets, but I don't know. There is also a big lean on like using effects for like things like you said, like color correcting. It looks very different.
Yeah, and then you get like the Hall of Prophecies. I understand why they made that an all digital set, but it looks very much like an all digital set.
Mm-hmm.
It's like straight out of Attack of the Clones. So the DP for this film is a guy named Slawomir Idziak. Anton, he's the same guy who shot my beloved Proof of Life.
Oh, nice.
We want a proof of life or we're not paying. Would you say that this film is paced too quickly? Because I would.
Yeah, I think it's
could have been longer. Should have been longer.
Sometimes you just gotta let it breathe.
And you said you thought the CGI got better?
As a whole, over the course of the series, yeah.
Okay. The CGI for Grop was, oof.
A little rough.
Did he need to be in the film?
Well, the fact that we have to ask it like this, he knows that they did a pretty bad job.
Because he's never brought up again in any of the subsequent films.
Yeah.
Does he really move the plot forward for this at all, other than to serve as a way to get them away from Umbridge?
If there was ever an opportunity to like have some to cut something, probably that could have been one of the things. But no Dobby.
Right. Exactly. You see my problems with this. Here's what they got right. The Death Eater designs are phenomenal. They're iconic. They've become really iconic. Those costumes.
The masks are like, I love seeing the masks whenever Halloween rolls around, because it's still like a very favorite costume.
That's what I was for Halloween.
That's right. That's right.
The shot of the first Death Eater, which turns out to be Lucius, emerging from the darkness in the Hall of Prophecies, it's one of my favorite shots in the whole series. I get chills every time I watch it.
That's a cool shot. Plus, like, they must feel pretty, like, even though they are moving with evil intent, they must feel pretty cool wearing those masks.
Yeah, they're badass looking masks. But the one thing I don't like about the Death Eaters, what is up with how they apparate with the billowing black trails of smoke? It's like it doesn't.
It's gotta look evil.
But that's not how the rest of the characters apparate. They're just supposed to
No.
pop in and out, like
Yeah,
teleporting.
it's supposed to be a bit more just instant,
Right.
but
Kind of counterproductive on their part too, because you can see when they're coming.
yeah, that's you're kind of telegraphing your moves a bit.
I don't know what to tell you.
No Quidditch in this film,
No Quidditch.
which
I get it. I get why they cut it out.
but I don't know. Like, if this is like Harry said, like, if this is also like Harry, like, you could have been like, Harry's also saying no to Quidditch, right? Like, I got more important things to do than sports right now.
They don't even mention it.
No, they don't.
Got anything else before we close this out?
I think
We like the duel,
looking
right?
at my notes.
Between
Yeah, the
Voldemort
duel.
and Dumbledore.
The duel was cool.
I like that line. They included that line from the book that Dumbledore says to him, "It was foolish of you to come here tonight, Tom." There's more dialogue that they could have included, but they didn't. But that's beside the point. What are you going to do?
Yeah. And then, just the centaurs are homies. I'll just say that.
And of course, that's a big part of the book that they cut out here, which I get. The whole thing with Ferenzi becoming the next, what was it, divination professor.
It seemed cool.
It was cool in the book. I get why it's not in this film. Like I said, a lot of the stuff that they removed, or not that they removed, a lot of the stuff that they didn't include, I'm fine with. But there was too much stuff they shouldn't have. So what am I going to rate this?
Well,
I gave Goblet of Fire a C, and I might need your help with my rating for this one, because this suffers from a lot of the same storytelling problems. I think that this is an improvement over Goblet of Fire, though. I like watching this more than Goblet of Fire. But it has the same Cliff Notes, rushed, perfunctory issue to it. I think I just like the source material better. I just happen to like Order of the Phoenix much better than the Goblet of Fire. So that might be why I like this one better. But it has a lot of the same issues. Major characters get shortchanged, but you made the point earlier, they get the skeleton right. I mean, Imelda Staunton as Dolores Umbridge is a very welcome addition. She's a wonderful villain. I think the set pieces mostly deliver. The final 40 minutes of the film, I think, are strong. It's well executed, particularly the final act. I think it's solid, but uneven. I was just really disappointed by the lazy storytelling. A lot of the decisions that they made, they didn't have to. They could have very easily included stuff in here, and they just made for whatever reason, they made the decision not to. This series developed the bad habit of taking its audience for granted. The second half is what saves it for me. It checked a lot of boxes. It never fully satisfied me, and I don't think it did the book justice. There's nothing in this film that I find outright bad, apart from the storytelling decisions that they, just chose to not include. I'm going to go C+. I didn't really enjoy watching this, though. Or should I say, I was really disappointed by it on the latest rewatch. I think 10 years ago, I would have rated this much higher. C+ for me. I think it's better than average because it's an improvement over Goblet of Fire. But compared to the first three, it's a step down still.
As we enter this era of the Harry Potter films, I think it's, while still rewatchable, the rewatchability of this one is personally, like, I don't often go back to this film, but it is one that I like to put on, include in the background, especially when we get to the last half of the film. I think that's where the film really shines. And especially compared to Goblet of Fire, which I haven't said as many nice things on the podcast about Goblet of Fire. But for me, the fact that this was really moving into the very much more mature themes in the book, I felt like it was still able to capture those most of the mature themes well. But then some of the most important aspects of Harry's development, his relationship with Sirius, to its core, is just missing. And for me, it just feels so unsatisfying and disappointing. But at the same time, I'm I'm so impressed by what the film got right. And I think that's why we can still always really fondly think of the Harry Potter film series, is because of, I think, like, I don't even know how to put it. Like, there's an agreed upon base upon which the films must be built upon, which is the spine and the skeleton, or whatever you want to call it. And I feel like this film still honors that. So it's better than average, but not quite great. So I give it a C+.
So you like it just about the same as Goblet of Fire?
Yeah.
Well, that is it for Harry Potter and the O of the P, and that is it for season 9. Done. Listeners should expect a season recap in the coming days, followed by, I believe we're doing a bonus episode in between seasons, Anton, just a little extra for the listeners. That's something, maybe we'll continue with future seasons. We've been able to accommodate that so far. But until now, thanks for listening, and see you next time.